Part 2. Silver Snow. Heartstring Moon. The Impregnable Fortress. After seizing the Great Bridge of Murden, the Resistance Army starts making preparations to invade Imperial territory, when a surprising piece of information comes to light.
Hello everybody, Ragtag Sagvi here. Welcome to the next episode. In the last episode, we took over the Great Bridge of Murden. We ran into Dimitri, or at least Gilbert working for him. And now, let's see what we do this month.
Emergency! In Gronder Field!
We are in the middle of a military conference. Please, calm yourself and tell us what is the matter.
Yes, sir. It seems the Kingdom and Alliance armies clashed with Imperial forces on Gronder Field. Amid the chaos of three armies battling each other out there, the Imperial army was routed. Edelgard sustained heavy wounds and retreated to Enbar.
Well then, I suppose.
Sir, the Kingdom army was also decimated, and His Highness Dimitri has been counted among the dead.
What?
The Alliance sustained heavy casualties as well, and the whereabouts of their leader, Claude, is currently unknown.
Unknown?
Dimitri is dead.
It must have been a brutal fight. To have lost His Highness. How tragic. Our only solace is that Edelgard sustained severe injuries. This is all quite unexpected, but we must find a way to use this situation to our advantage. The Empire's main force has suffered a mighty blow. Edelgard will most certainly avoid the front lines. Now is the time for us to infiltrate the Empire and aim for the capital.
But what will happen to the Lords of the Old Kingdom and Alliance territories?
They have lost many leaders and soldiers. I'm sure they must be hard at work rebuilding. We will foster cooperation by aiding them through the local churches. The remaining Lords of the Kingdom and Alliance must join together to form one union. And you should be the one to lead them. What do you say?
I can't decide that just yet.
Indeed, it is a question for another day. We must focus on our battle with the Empire. For now, what is our next course of action?
Let's decide where to invade first.
We must choose a place within the Empire that will give us solid defenses for our front line. That will become the foothold for our invasion of the capital. There is one massive fortress that boasts the greatest defenses in the Empire, Fort Mercius. But we will stand no chance if we attack by traditional means. We must gather everyone and devise a plan of attack.
It has been a lifetime, hasn't it, Professor?
I thought you were dead.
Yes, I thought so too. I wanted to slice her throat, but I did not get the chance. I let people die, and yet I still stand. Rodrigue, Gustav, Dedu.
There must be a reason you survived.
You sound just like Rodrigue. A reason. Everyone gives such complicated advice, and I can never quite grasp it all. That is why, Professor, I came here to explain my decision.
What decision?
I have no resources to take back the kingdom capital, much less to defeat the Empire. And that is why...
Professor, you will catch a cold sleeping in a place like this. Is something the matter?
Where did he go?
I am the only one here. Were you dreaming? I can't say for certain that you were dreaming, but if someone did come here to see you, that person only wanted you to see their face. Perhaps they wanted you to guide them.
Let's go see how Ferdinand's doing.
What an interesting way of looking at life. Ah, it is you. Just at the right time.
You're working late.
Oh, is it nighttime already? I must have gotten carried away. There is something I wanted to discuss. Something about you. I am starting to believe that you are a true hero. You hold the Lost Crest, you wield the Sword of the Creator, and you lead everyone in battle against great enemies. Not only that, but you are a strategist. You give everyone direction, so they know what needs to be done. You do not seem particularly ambitious, and yet you accomplish so much.
That's high praise.
I am not exaggerating. Everything I said is true. I have been reading about the history of Fargus, you know. The kingdom's founder, Lugh, the king of lions, had two advisors. One of them was Pan, the undesiring strategist. According to historical records, Pan wanted nothing for himself. He devoted himself entirely to Lugh. He had tremendous power, but he never seemed concerned about his legacy. So in the old chronicles, there is hardly any mention of Pan's deeds. All that we know is that he helped Lugh, his friend and leader.
To think someone could be so virtuous.
It is not surprising that you have never heard of him. I did not even know his name until recently. But when I watch how you conduct yourself, I feel that I am seeing the unknown deeds of Pan. It is only a thought, of course, but it makes me feel rather happy. Even if it is not in the pages of a history book, a life can be full of achievement. I know that I will never prevail over Edelgard. Even if I defeat her on the battlefield, I am what I am. Like you and this undesiring strategist, I will do what I am called to do, even if no mark of me remains in the history books.
Alright, let's go and explore the monastery. Got a magic tournament. So while we're doing this, I want to talk a little bit about wrong blue lions, Dimitri.
Professor?
Hang on.
Fort Mercius is next, huh? Ah, the memories. It's a huge stronghold in my father's domain. The town's completely surrounded by high walls. I used to run around there when I was a kid. Way back when a fortress was just a playground for me. Yeah, those were the days.
Okay, so I want to talk about Dimitri. There's been a lot of debate among the community about Dimitri's fate in the Silver Snow route. Given that he just seems to show up and then immediately disappear. As he shows up alone to see Byleth, but when Setif comes to check on Byleth, there is no Dimitri. So this has been long debated if the Dimitri we saw was indeed Dimitri while he was that is still alive, or Dimitri that is dead. Some people believe it could be Dimitri when he's dead because in Fotland's religion, it is believed that when somebody dies, they often go and see the goddess Sophis for guidance into the afterlife. Which would make sense for Dimitri to come and see us because, well, we're the embodiment of Sophis. We have Sophis in us, and we have essentially become the goddess. So, in that case, if Dimitri is dead, and if he was to go and see Sophis for guidance before heading to the afterlife, it makes sense that he would come and see us as a result. Who should I throw into the tournament? Funny enough, all my best black magic users are not black magic users. Most of them are my healers. Yeah, let's use Dorothea. Or, Hardiman. Magic use, Ragnarok. Level 35 or higher. I'm just gonna go with the safer route. So that part can make sense if Dimitri is dead and his spirit have come to see us.
One of us has to die.
Starting with a critical, okay.
Winning.
Also, there's arguments if Dimitri is alive because, well, we never technically saw Dimitri, and if that was his, either a spirit or a hallucination, how would we know what he would look like after the time skip, since we never physically saw him? If Dimitri came to him as a spirit, wouldn't it make sense for him to take on a form that would be more familiar to Byleth? So, in that case, it could be that Dimitri was alive, he somehow did survive the Battle of Gondorfield, and the battle was just so chaotic that either he was prematurely thought to be dead, or he was found, was unconscious, assumed dead, and then he got up and walked away. Hey, when he recovered.
One of us has to die.
And seeing that he lost his chance to defeat Edelgard and has basically no resources left to take back Fotland, he essentially puts himself into self-exile. And is leaving everything up to us, but wanted to see us one last time as a way to forgive himself for the sins he's committed.
It's win or die.
But yeah, there's a lot of debate if Dimitri is dead or was that Dimitri when he was alive or he's dead, because we get a report that he's dead, yet we see him. But when Sedif comes by, he claims that we were the only ones there, and he saw nobody else. We just don't know if that was immediately right after Dimitri said that he knew what he had to do, or if he told Byleth what he had to say. Byleth was then in deep fault when Dimitri left, and that's when Sedif found him. So yeah, a lot of debates, and it's a very interesting topic to get into. Anyway, we also now have Lawrence back in our army.
Fort Mercius is old and strong. Its reputation for durability is equal to that of Arianrode. Are you certain your plan is sufficient? It seems to be a little simplistic.
We will be fine.
I suppose I must take you at your word, mustn't I? Incidentally, have you heard any news of Claude? I, for one, have a hard time believing he is dead. He was always a clever and tenacious sort.
It hasn't sunk in yet. They slaughtered the boar. I can hardly believe it. I thought he was alive all this time. He must have really hated Edelgard to lead such an ill-advised assault. No point in feeling sorry for the poor scoundrel now.
Hey, Professor?
Let's go over there. Ooh, hello, Lysithia.
Claude somehow survived. I imagine he's terribly wounded. All three forces have suffered heavy losses. We're incredibly lucky to have not been involved. This is a perfect and unique opportunity to go on the offense. Now is the time to prove ourselves, Professor.
Let's head over to the Amiibo Gazebo. Grab some items and then head into the Holy Tomb. Right back to the monastery.
My, thank you so much.
I am grateful.
I have gratitude.
I thank you.
Thanks so much.
Alright. Not finished exploring, just want to check if we can talk to somebody. There's nobody in the corridor or in the dorms, so...
Hey, you. No.
Let's go to the greenhouse.
Hi there. It's always so peaceful coming back here. But it's hard to relax knowing we have to go out on another expedition again so soon. And assaulting that huge keep. That sounds hard. Oh, really hard. Don't you think it'll be hard?
It's gonna be tough.
I knew you'd think so. I knew you... Ow! Oh, ow. Can't believe I tried to hug you through the door.
I forgot she does that.
Maybe.
Would have been nice if there was like an audio like bonk when she did that as well. Alright, let's start planting. Cultivate.
I think you're quite a tactician. Disguising ourselves as enemy soldiers to sneak in undetected. A stroke of brilliance. In a frontal attack, our losses would be tremendous. With this strategy, we can really snatch victory from the jaws of deceit.
That's a bad pun, I would agree there. That's a good point.
With you leading our fighters, I've no doubt...
Oh, that's a bad pun, the best option?
Get it? Deceit again?
I thought praising him was the better option. Some uncommon fish. Ooh, a goldfish. Quite literally. Perfect. Damn it. Can I get the... There we go. Some bait. Now let's come over there.
The fish in this pond get fed every day, so they're swimming all lazy and serene. But the only reason they're kept here is so that they can one day be used for food. But the fish don't know that, so they just swim around happily. It's a bit of a miserable thought. But aren't soldiers much the same?
Professor?
Hello, gatekeeper.
Professor, nothing to report. Is it true that we'll be assaulting Fort Mercius next? That doesn't sound like the brightest idea. I've heard that it's built to withstand an attack from even the largest of armies. And not to tell you how to do your job, but don't do it. I'm not ready to say my final goodbyes to everyone.
Don't worry, I think we'll succeed.
Hello there. This one, yes? I think this one, yes? I thank you. This one, yes? This one, yes?
Let's buy a bunch of
this
gifts
one,
if need be.
this
But
one,
I
yes.
can
I think
mass
this one, yes.
use them
this one, yes?
to build
This one,
support.
yes. This one, yes? This one, yes? I thank you. Return soon, please.
Hey, welcome. You have a good eye. You have a good. You have a good eye. You have a good. 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 You have a good eye. A pleasure doing. Come again.
What's this? The I was about to say the black market, which I guess is technically correct.
Will this one do? It's all. Will this one? It's. Will this one do? It's. Will this one? It's all. Will this one do? It's. Will this one? It's all. Will this one? It's all. Will this one do? It's all yours. Take it. Will this one do? It's. Will this one? It's. Will this one? It's. Will this one do? It's. Will this one do? It's all yours. Take it. Tell your friends.
Right, and
Class reunion on the battlefield? That's bleak. That must have been so hard on everyone. You gotta keep looking after them all. I mean, they still look to you for guidance, you know? Hey!
a few
How about a
questions.
favor? Appreciate it. A clap? You gotta...
Right,
Welcome!
let's take a look at the secret shop.
Is that the one?
I think I'll buy a silver
Thanks a
shield.
Is that the one? Thanks a bunch. Is that the one? Thanks a
Buy a
bunch.
few extra master seals.
Come back soon.
Get some seeds.
Professor?
never used to care whether I lived or died. But when I think of all those who died at Gronder, I realize how precious life truly is. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was to think that death could mean so little.
Could be. I only know what little I overheard. But what I did hear implied that the Empire was involved in the tragedy of Dusker. If it's true, that may explain why His Highness chose to fight the Empire. Perhaps I should have fought alongside His Highness.
Are you having regrets?
No, not anymore. I am where I belong. Those of us still on this plane of existence will carry the torch. The inhumane actions of the Empire must not be repeated.
Yeah. Also, this also implies that in the Silver Snow route, any of the Blue Lion classmates that you didn't recruit, with the exception of Ash, because you can either recruit him in the battle at the Valley of Torment if you recruited him before, or you can just outright kill him.
Hey, I could use
whenever I'm thinking about the next battle, my knees won't stop shaking. I'm scared of getting hurt or worse. Is there a medical herb I can use to calm my nerves? Find the herb that can help calm the nerves of the soldier in the Knight's Hall. You may find what you need growing at the greenhouse. But yeah, I think it's implied that any other Blue Lion student you didn't recruit would have been with Dimitri at Gondor and would have died at Gondor.
I'm rather curious to see what stratagem we'll devise to capture the fortress. You know Fort Mercius's nickname, I assume, the stubborn old general? But there must be one or two gaps in its defenses.
Wow. I hardly recognize everyone. Their faces have changed so much. More experience in the eyes, and more pain. I'm glad that they're stronger, but I hate to think they've all become hardened killers. Look after them, okay? Try to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Professor.
Lawrence wants to see us.
Well met, Professor. I trust that you have not had any complaints about me lately.
Thankfully, no.
Good. For any trouble I may have caused, please accept my most humble apology. I've decided that it would be inappropriate for me to continue my search for a spouse while we are at war. I expect that means you will not be receiving any more complaints. I hope that puts you more at ease. Actually, the introspection I've gained setting aside my search has motivated me to amend my conduct.
Embarrassed about your past behavior?
Not the phrasing I'd choose, but you're not wrong. Selfishly pursuing my own desires caused me to behave inconsiderately. For instance, it was arrogant and rude to invite ladies to dine with me purely to evaluate them. Our experiences in battle have also given me cause to doubt certain preconceptions I once held. Previously, I had considered it a requirement for my future spouse to come from a noble line. I once thought that commoners lacked the power to influence the wider world, as history might suggest. To find a commoner who made a real impact, one has to look all the way back to Nemesis. That was my belief, at any rate. But I realized that I've actually had an influential commoner right in front of me all along.
Who?
Don't you see? I'm referring to you. You may wield the power of a crest, but you are so much more than just that. You have managed to charm everyone around you, to compel them to trust and follow you. Though you may not realize it, that is no mean feat. It is altering the course of history in Fodlan. Your example puts my prior beliefs to shame.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
I appreciate the kind words. I have always sought to embody the ideal of nobility. That, at least, is a goal I continue to stand by. But now I know that bloodline alone is not sufficient to gauge a person's worth. I've learned much of this from you. You are humble and open-minded, despite your power and skill. That is why I, at least, find you so charismatic. Perhaps that is the wrong way to say it. What I mean is that you set an admirable example. I can only hope someday to be your equal. Of course, you had better keep an eye on me, because I can achieve anything I set out to do. For I am none other than the handsome and talented Lawrence Hellman Gloucester.
Let's go back to exploring. Somebody here to speak to.
Doesn't matter how sturdy the keep. If the commander defending it is incompetent, it can fall as easy as anything. That's what they say, at least. I wonder if that applies to Fort Merceus. All I know is, if I was the Emperor, I'd never in a million years assign an incompetent commander to a fort as important as that one.
He does have a point. Even if you have a fortress that's impregnable, if the commanding officer that's in command of that fortress is incompetent, it will very easily fall compared to a fortress that isn't as well defended. So it's safe to say whoever's commanding the fortress isn't going to be incompetent. Hey, Garrick Mach is surrounded by abundance of nature, but securing provisions during time of war can still be difficult. This is different from my land of home. That one's a fairly easy one, especially once you recognize the silhouette. Lawrence, what are your supports? I'm gonna do your support conversations in the next episode, but what is your current supports? Marley, Manuela, alright, let's have you and Manuela sing together.
Something appears to be wrong with my throat.
This is no good. Sing from your diaphragm. Law. Get it? Law.
I must always improve.
Oh, Goddess, hear my prayer. Please bless the deceased with peace everlasting, and may his soul rest in tranquility. You know, I used to see him praying quite often when I would come to the cathedral at night. I wonder who it was he prayed for back then.
That is a good question. Dorothea's also here.
Professor, I heard that a staggering number of people lost their lives in the battle at Gronder. And here we are, preparing for the next battle as if nothing happened the day before. It's almost easier to think about war as theater, with the stage an entire continent.
Though actors die, the show goes on.
Something like that. If an accident happens on stage, the next day's performance must be unaffected. Everyone just pretends like everything is fine, focusing on their role in the play.
No.
Alright, let's go back into the monastery.
Well...
anybody on the third floor? Doesn't look like it.
Professor!
Anybody in here? Yep.
The battle at Gronder Field certainly took an unexpected turn, did it not? Let us press on, so as not to waste the opportunity. Fort Merceus is a keep that was constructed to defend the imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, the city should be almost entirely at our mercy. I will make the necessary preparations. Be ready.
Alright, so we're gonna get ready.
Each step closer to Enbar, I'm reminded of another part of my past. Riches and poverty, glory and failure. That city has it all. And if I'm honest, sometimes I miss it. That's how the past works, though, isn't it? It's always a different story than what you really lived.
Oh, went into the wrong room.
Indeed. Fort Mercius is the Empire's single most fortified military installation. Utterly impregnable, they say. I wonder, do you happen to know the nickname given to Fort Mercius?
The silver... No, I think it was the Southern Old General.
Indeed. A very good answer. But of course, you'd know that. Seems Fodlans give everyone and everything a nickname. Why, you were called the Ashen Demon. Myself, I have been called the Father of Crestology, which is a nickname as well as a title, I suppose.
Yep. I was about to say the Silver Maiden, but I'm like, oh no, wait, that's a completely different fortress.
Let's see. Guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see.
You could detect Ek movements in advance.
I suppose I could see a whole horde of enemies coming and run away. That's kind of useful, at least. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now. I'm gonna put my eyes to real good use.
Alright, let's go over here.
Professor, it sounds like the battle at Gronder Field was pretty gruesome. We don't know for certain whether Claude's alive or dead. Maybe he's alright. I wish I could make sure somehow. But it doesn't seem possible now.
It doesn't seem like anybody's in the library.
Let's see.
Hey, you.
Ooh, we got a bunch of people in here.
I've heard that Gilbert, who used to serve in the Knights of Seros, fell at Gronder. Apparently he was originally a knight of the kingdom, and now he shared Prince Dimitri's fate. Gilbert was an exceptional knight. It's an unspeakable shame.
Did you give the ridiculous order to prepare Imperial armor for every one of our troops?
I've reached out through all of my channels, but there are limits to these things. I'll have to recruit an entire town's worth of people if I ever plan on making enough.
I like this idea of yours, dressing as Imperial soldiers so they'll let us in. But don't you wish there was one more twist in the plan? Come on, Professor, think. How could we add another wrinkle,
We could dress Senef as a woman! Okay, I want to say that.
Said it's dressed as a woman. I don't understand what the point of that would be. On second thought, let's just stick to the plan as originally conceived. That seems safer.
This is funny to imagine. That was too funny that I had to select that. There's nobody in the War Council room, right?
Really?
What?
Right.
Professor!
Oh, let me see. Let's go out this way. Let's see what you're selling. Ooh, definitely buy that. Silver Sword Plus, yeah, I think I'll buy it. Also, really weird seeing Hilda in this bulky ass armor. We made some money. Available travelers. Let's select Lawrence. Local specialties. Send you off. Nobody in here. Nobody here, but there's somebody to speak to out here.
Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude, all the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder. I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
And nobody in the golden deer class.
You know, Professor, laying siege to a keep is like asking a girl out on a date. First, you get past her defenses, then you make your move.
You might be right. Not the best analogy.
Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a seasoned veteran at this kind of thing. Girls, I mean. I've never actually, captured any keeps. Anyway, you know more about tactics than me, so I don't know why I'm offering you advice.
Professor.
Anybody in here to speak to? Just a generic
After
person?
that great battle earlier, the balance of power in Fodlan has shifted greatly. But we only stood a chance because we drove the Empire from the Great Bridge of Myrden. To get revenge for all our fallen friends, we'll have to stake our lives on the fight that lies before us.
Let's come over here, see what everybody in here has to say.
Well, according to information we've received from the Eastern Church, the Alliance territories seem to be experiencing intense upheaval. Their leaders' well-being is still unclear, and the Lords are all questioning each other's intentions. It seems like a difficult time to ask the Alliance for assistance.
Under your leadership, we can win any battle, no matter the odds. That's what everyone's saying, anyway. Hope you can keep up with our expectations, Professor.
Not possible. Professor, they tell me my father died at Gronder. Was that really a fitting end for one such as him? I don't know. I just don't know.
Teacher. Dimitri, the late Prince of Fargus. He despised the Empire with all his heart. He should not have tried leading an army while his emotions were holding him captive.
Leaders are people too.
Enough. But I suspect the reason he died is that he could not keep his emotions in check. I see. You are saying you met with Dimitri, but you could not tell if it was reality or a dream. I wonder what that could mean.
Let me see. Anybody else? Besides from in here, there's also another conversation to have. Yeah, we'll speak to everyone here. See what the support conversation is, then go down into Abyss.
Professor, standing face to face with those whom I went to school with. On the field of battle. How inhuman war is. How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior.
I have excitement in my heart for secret tactics. I enjoy attacks that are surprising.
Because it's like hunting?
Yes. Hunting is doing surprise attacks on prey. Surprise attacks are safe with friends. Fewer injuries.
I've heard the dues passed on, just like His Highness.
We can't know for certain.
That's true. I did hear that his body was never found. If somehow he's still alive, I hope we'll meet again.
Professor, you know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired.
You can tell how your muscles are feeling?
Of course! If my muscles hurt, then I hurt. If they're hungry, well then I'm hungry too. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
Professor.
Ottoman wants to see us.
Which means that there are some elements of your power that cannot be explained by current theory. Although this may lead to a discovery that alters the very fabric of Crest research. Oh, pardon me, Professor. I became lost in thought, and I do tend to ramble. I suggest we call it a day. Do you concur?
I'm fine, keep talking.
No, you mustn't push yourself too hard. When you are not in battle, you are so often here with me. I get so energized speaking with you. Well, I must remember to pull my head out of the clouds. That said, perhaps we should discuss things unrelated to crests from time to time. Some sort of silly, lighthearted topic might be nice, eh?
Do you have one in mind?
I'm not especially skilled at small talk, alas. Let me see. Perhaps we should discuss... I know. Food. Not my strong suit, the culinary arts, but I do enjoy a good meal. Which kind of food do you prefer, Professor? Sweet or spicy?
I personally like sweets.
Same as myself. Yes, indeed. Oh, now my stomach is growling. An old colleague of mine theorized that those who bear crests favor sweet flavors over spicy. She suggested that the crest exerts some manner of influence over... Oh, there I go again. How embarrassing. We were supposed to be avoiding talk of crests, weren't we? Terrible habit of mine, finding a way to turn any conversation towards crests. I really should find a way to stop that.
We could talk more about crests.
That is kind of you, Professor, but it's all right. If you were to lose your patience with me, it could have an incalculable impact on my research. That sort of thing has happened in the past, you know. Back when I was still in the Empire. At first, any lady I was spending time with would titter and say she didn't mind if I talked about crests. But at some point, she would always become fed up and stop listening to what I had to say. In the end, invariably, while I was particularly focused on my research, she would write to say we were done. You may be a man, but I still don't wish for you to grow tired of my company.
Alright, let's go down into Abyss. See what everyone has to say down there.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey! Hey you, listen up. I've got something to report. Lots of things happen down here. Lots of reports need to be reported. And for all reportable things, I'm your guy.
Pardon me. Got a wager for you. My friend says there's twice as many women in Abyss as men. You think he's right?
No, the men aren't as few as that.
Good eye. You win. Here, have a little something.
I hurt my leg in the last battle. Had to take shelter down here. Nowhere else to go. Be careful up there. All sides are bringing their strongest people to this fight. Count Burgleys in the Empire, Lord Holst in the Alliance. I'm sure the Kingdom's got someone too.
There's Balthus.
You know, House Albrecht also took part in the Battle of Gronder. That's where my little bro is, of course. Yeah, he's very different from me. Smart one. But just about worthless in a fight. I really hope he's okay.
Anybody else we can speak to?
I used to be a rather important person in the church, but I am in exile for committing a crime. I embezzled some money, but it wasn't out of greed. My hometown was pillaged, you see, and the church wasn't putting in enough to rebuild.
Let's see what's in the recycle. Ooh, Silverlands Plus, not bad.
Yikes. People have always fought, I guess. Bandits and nobles clashing over territory, things like that. So before the war, when folks talked about how peaceful everything was, I thought, what continent are you living on? I get it now. A few isolated skirmishes here and there are nothing compared to a full-blown war. The one truly peaceful place I've known was the village where I grew up.
If the Empire rallies its forces and attacks Garreg Mach, I'm not so sure Abyss will be okay. If we're not careful, it'll end up buried in rubble.
I won't let that happen.
Ever the valiant one. But nobody ever knows how a war will turn out. That's part of the deal, you know. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I want to ensure there is still a refuge for people to escape to.
Alright, where's Constance? Is she over here? No?
So, what a pain. What an absolute pain.
What's the matter?
Concerned, are you? That's nice. A little too nice. Here's a word of warning. If anyone here asks you for a favor, it's probably just a scam.
Hey, where's Constance in here? Oh, she's at the very end. No wonder I didn't see her.
It's not that I don't sympathize with Lady Edelgard's goals, mind you, but perhaps not to the point of shedding blood for her ideals.
Some ideals are worth fighting for.
Of course, but I've gone down a different road. Peace in Fodlan and a restored House Nouvelle shall be my guiding star as I blaze my own trail.
Alright, well that will end the episode here. In the next episode, we'll do the support. So if you enjoyed this episode, do you like the videos? It helps tremendously. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on this episode, and share the video so that more people can discover my content and help the channel grow. I'll see you all next time. Later.